That's it. I'd like to, first of all, say thank you. Inaskimit nan, Ugamasko, to our elder, for those her remarks and her prayers. I'd like to acknowledge Wendy and for asking me to be up here this morning to speak with you. And I want to acknowledge everybody that works for the betterment of our people. And the work is very important because water is very important to my people. What I'm going to be speaking about this morning is concerning Nipe and what that means, but also the epistemology of our beliefs, my people's beliefs in regarding what Nipe is and basically what life is, and how that every culture understood the concept of science. It wasn't only Romans and Greeks that sat down and philosophized these things. Every culture had the ability to do this, to intellectualize, to understand, to philosophize. So I'm going to be speaking on these things. It's going to be a wide variety of things. But first I'll begin. Tanse ntu temenawak puame nige teach ge unet sniga asan o paske ak nino oche inenio nitmagin moy kaski ten smato ni naskmit nan anos kishga ego be ma tishon ni naskmit nan uta atishkeyen. Greetings, my relatives, my people. In my culture, I follow my culture. I follow my ceremony, and I try to introduce our youth to understand that they don't have to leave behind their culture, their history, their heritage, their beliefs in order to walk an academic life. Those things can go hand in hand. And they do go hand in hand. I'm standing up here as a sort of an example of that. So my name is Puame Negete Ditsigo. And my people, that's what my people refer to me as. Also, I'm known as Wilfred Buck. Puame Negete Ditsigo means the dream keeper, he who has had a dream and keeps it. And for my people, Puamiak, those dreams are very important. And for my people's methodology of approaching science, Puamiak is included in that. Dreams are included in that methodology. And same with Hatsagak. Spirit is included in that methodology. So that's where our perspectives differ from the academic and my people's belief about science. We include that spirit, very important. We include those dreams, very important. Everybody dreams. Who dreams here? Basically, everybody dreams. Even though you don't remember those dreams, you dream. It's a human part of our human existence to dream. And for my people, we look at those dreams and we understand that there's other realities out there. And we get into astrophysics here. My people believe that there's different realities. And we're here at this place, Utahaski, this earth here, Anuch Utahaski, at this time, at this place, in this area. We're here for a visit. We're just visiting here at this place because there's another realities out there. There's a place up in the sky called Pagwangisik, the hole in the sky, and it's referred to on star charts as the Pleiades, the seven sisters. This constellation group of stars is situated on the earth above the sky, in the sky, that people from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere can view this group of stars. And every indigenous culture that I've talked to throughout the world, they look at this group of stars and they see it as a very sacred place. It's a very sacred place. And a lot of people then refer to it as the origin place, where we come from. Pagwangijik. That's what my people see. We come from this place, Pagwangijik, that hole in the sky. And when they're talking about hole in the sky, what they're referring to is a spatial anomaly, a wormhole, an alternate reality. And my elders, they contemplated this, alternate realities. There's different realities out there. So the example they put forward is Poamiak, the dreams. Your dreams are glimpses of alternate realities. They're glimpses of infinite possibilities. They're glimpses of quantum theory. That's what these things are. This could happen. If you do this, then this would happen. If you do that, then maybe this would happen. So on and so forth. And so they give you understandings. And the really amazing thing about this is that I was presenting in Ottawa one time, about 4 or 5 years back, on First Nations astronomy. And when I finished presenting, an elder from Northern Ontario came up to me. And she said that she was told this story by her parents when she was young, that back in the late 30s and early 40s, there was a man that came up from the States to their community and sat with the elders for, I think she said about 2 weeks, sat with the elders and went in ceremony and went into the sweat lodge and went into the shaken tent. And they talked about Pagwangijik, that hole in the sky. And they talked about alternate realities and how dreams were connected to these possibilities. And I thought that was very interesting. And then again, I was down in Minneapolis, again presenting. And again, 2 elders came up to me, 2 male elders. They came up to me and they told me the exact same story. And I said, So I thought about it for a while. And then again, I was in Edmonton and doing the same thing, presenting. And again, an elder came up to me, and again, the exact same story from the exact same reserve in Northern Ontario. And the man they were talking about was named Albert Einstein. And that just blew my mind. Talking about alternate realities, different possibilities. I said, it's all relative. So it's not only the Western thought that contemplates these possibilities. Every culture in the face of the earth has the mental capacity to do such things. That's the first point I'd like to make. So, getting back to why I'm here. Like I said before, I'm here to talk about nipe, water. And for my people, nipe is very, very important. Nipe, of course, is important to all life. And one way that was put into perspective for me is I had a chance to sit down with the elder, but back in 1975, somewhere around there. And he sat me down and he told me, we were sitting here watching TV and there was watching news, and there was a oil spill on the ocean, and we're watching those black waves coming into shore, spreading that oil all over the place. And he looked at me and he said, he said, grandson, he said, Wapam. And he said, nipe e misko, nipe e misko. And I looked at him and I thought about that, because what that means is nipe, water is blood. Water equates to blood, is what he said. And then on the same with that, he just flipped that around and he said, misko e nipe, and blood is water. And he said, what they're doing there is they're poisoning us. They're killing us. Not only us, but ni mama aski. They're killing the earth. That water equates to our blood in our bodies, where our veins take that blood all over our bodies, and make our body alive. And it's the same with the water of this planet. It goes all over the place. It has veins. It has channels. It has reservoirs. And these things go all over the place and make our earth alive. And if we poison that, then basically we're killing ourselves. And we do that because one of the things our elders talk about is understanding who we are. Understanding who we are. Who are you? One of the things we say is, first of all, when the elders talk, one of the very first things they mention is, Littamagian. Littamagian, moikaskiiten. Littamagian means I am pitiful. I do not understand. And from that perspective, they begin their journey, questing for knowledge. When you come from that perspective, what you're doing is you're opening your mind to other possibilities. You're not coming at it from I know everything and I'm going to learn more, but I know it all. So that's one of the things our elders always tell us. You have to come from that perspective, because if you don't, you shut your mind to everything else, because you're saying you know everything. And you're here to teach. You're here to speak to everybody rather than listen. So, Nitamagian, my relatives, I am pitiful. One of the things our elders tell us is that we need everything, and everything doesn't need us. The example they use is, so tomorrow morning, we wake up, and something has happened to Mistigak, the trees. What would happen to us? And of course, the answer is, we die. So they go on, okay, tomorrow morning, we wake up, something happened to Manchusak, Hego, Hashiniyak, the bugs or the rocks. What would happen to us? And again, the answer is, eventually, we die, because we need those things. And it goes on, okay, you wake up tomorrow, nipe, something's happened to nipe. And right away the answer is, it makes there's no thought process, we die. So, tomorrow morning, the world wakes up and there's no human beings. What would happen? And of course the answer is, nothing. Continue on. That's how important we are. And we have to understand that. We need everything, everything doesn't need us. And so, nipe is very important, but not only nipe. When my people talk about that, they talk about spirit, and they understand that everything has spirit, everything. And the process is, when they talk about spirit, they include a concept, misa. Misa is all that is, all that is. And this concept is mind-blowing, because this concept doesn't include what we see here. It includes what we don't see. One of the things they tell us is that Kisimanto, Mama Scott's, Kisimanto. Kisimanto is awesome. And it's mind-blowing when you think about it. Got up this morning, went outside, had a smudge, prayed, looked up at the sky, saw the clouds, and I said, it's going to rain. And then that concept is mind-blowing. Water falling from the sky. Awesome. That's amazing. You know, who made that? Not us. That process, we never did that. Us walking around, looking at this machine we walk around in. Awesome, Mama Scott's. Who made that? Not us. Looking up at the night sky, see all that beautiful beauty, awesomeness out there. Who made that? Not us. So we understand that there's a wider existence out there. And that wider existence is connected by one thing my people believe, and that's Manto, Kismanto, our Creator. Creator made everything. Creator made everything. Everything we know, everything we don't know. Creator made. The way the mythology goes is that Creator created everything. When Creator thought, things came into being. Creator thought about Ashindiak, those rocks. They came into being. They were the first ones here floating around in space before anything else was, we're told. And we call those ones Nomashum, Nuokum, grandmother, grandfather, because we equate them to the oldest things that we know. So, Creator had a thought, and the earth came into being, the sun came into being, Pisim, Maaski. These things came into being. Atsagwaskwan, the spirit clouds, they came into being. Atsagsiipi, the Milky Way, it came into being. So all these things Creator thought about, and they came into being. Creator thought about us, and we came into being. And we're told that when Creator thought about the things that came into being, there was a part of Creator left inside of everything. And we call that Atsak, we call that spirit. So everything made by Creator has a spirit. My people refer to these things as animate objects. Not inanimate, but animate objects. The things made by man are inanimate. Things made by Creator are animate. And that's how we're related. We're related to all things through that process because we come from one Creator. And Creator goes on, they go on to say, since Creator made everything and Creator is never ending, that piece of us that's inside of us is never ending, which we call Atsak, spirit. That's why they say we're visitors at this place, because we come here to visit and then we continue our journey once our body dies here. And that is mind-blowing. So they go on to say that since Creator can never die, then right now, at this moment, creation is still being made because Creator is still thinking. And that is mind-blowing. So creation is still being made out there. So we can never imagine how big creation is. We can never imagine, understand what creation is. But we can understand a little bit. And sometimes our head gets swelled up, it gets big, because we're so great. But in fact, that we know very little, very little. But we want to learn. And so, Nipi, as a living entity at this place, at this time, right now they're finding water all over the place. All over the place they look, they're finding water. They found water on the moon. They found water on Mars. They say there's water on the planet, a moon of Saturn called Europa. In Pleiades, there's life out there, they say. They're finding planets all over the place. They estimate that we have about 400 billion stars in our Milky Way system. And of those 400 billion stars, they say about 1/4 of them contain planets, have planets around them. So that's mind-blowing. And a lot of those planets have water. So again, that's mind-blowing. So it seems we're not as special as we like to think we are. So, Nipe, for my people, includes all this whole big, huge thing. It's a holistic view of life. It's a holistic view of existence. It's a holistic view of how we perceive the world. And we don't compartmentalize the concept. Science goes here, and this goes over here, and this goes over here. Everything all fits together, and everything needs to be entwined, and it needs to be relies on each other to exist. And so Nipe, one of the things about Nipe, I was told by my mentor, my elder, was for my people, Nipe is a holistic word, because there are some words that you can look at, and you can find the root word of these things. I'll give you an instance. For instance, there's a word called makwa, and the Anishinaabe say maato. The maato is like Lakota people. That's what they call that bear. So just a little side note, I just realized that maato in my language means cry. So, and for the Lakota it means bear. So that's what one of the, I sang dance with the Lakota people, and that's what they call me, Mato. And I thought I was a crybaby. And anyways, so for my people, Mato, Maskwa is a bear. So we asked the students, what does Maskwa mean? Oh, that's a bear, Makwa. But what does it really mean? And that word, Maskwa, it comes from a phrase, Maskigiawa. And Maskigiawa means this being is medicine. And that says that this is a sacred thing. And it provides medicine. And that bear does. It provides medicine. Its habits, what it eats, what it does, how it goes about the business, it gives us medicine. It shows us medicine. And the whole body itself provides medicine. So that's the root word, of course, Maskigiawa, to Maskwa. So that's for Nipi, it's a totally different thing. Nipi is actually the root word itself, and it's incorporated into the language. And it's a holistic view. It's right from life, right from birth to death. One of the words we have for death is Nipai, Nipi, and that's the end of that water. Nina is me. And I am water. I come from water. Eskwewak. I come from water. So with that, we can begin to understand that Nipi is a very, very, very important to my people, but not only to my people, to all people. And that when we look at that word, when we see, I bought a PowerPoint and I never referred to it once yet. So when we look at that, I guess I should refer to it. Seasonal timeline, Nipi. So cleans, nourishes, gives energy with all these things. For instance, for my people, in regard to science. So there's a thing called Matutsan. Matutsan is the sweat lodge. And in a lot of ceremony, Nipi is central part. Even in the sun dance, the thirst dance, sometimes my people call these the ceremonies. One of the very sacred ceremonies of my people. Every summer, dancers dance from anywhere to 2 days to 4 days under the sun. When the sun comes up, they get up, they start dancing. And when the sun starts going down, they stop dancing. And they don't have no food, they don't have no water. For 4 days, they do this. The thirst dance. And the central concept of that dance is water is life. Water is life. That's the central part of that dance. Every ceremony that's done, water is the central part, because Nipi is a central part to Ishkwel. Nipi equates to woman, and we all come from women. And so every ceremony that we do honors Ishkwel, honors the woman. And so that Nipi, very, very important. And so back to Matutsan. Matutsan, the sweat lodge. When you look at the sweat lodge, you're looking at a scientific process. You're looking at a lot of scientific processes. You're looking at the energy cycle. You're looking at the water cycle. You're looking at the carbon cycle. You see the sun and how the energy is transferred from the sun, and so on and so forth, all the way to that fire, and how that fire transfers that heat to those rocks, and how the rocks are placed in a lodge and the water is poured on those rocks. And when water is poured on those rocks, there's a chemical reaction that happens there. And we're sitting in that lodge and we're breathing in all those elements that are transformed when that water hits those hot rocks. And we breathe that in. We're breathing that supersaturated oxygen. And that's getting into our lungs. That's getting into our bloodstream. It's making our body come alive. The largest organ in the human body, our skin, comes alive. And that's why a lot of people sometimes when they come out of that lodge, they feel like they're floating, because their whole skin is breathing. And all that energy is coming through, and they're making the energy flow. Basic concept about science is energy, the flow of energy. And in the sweat lodge, that's what happens to your body. You get that energy flow. And so this is part of the scientific process. though the methodologies aren't specifically put down. Okay, this is how you do it. This is the materials you use. This is your hypotheses. It's all there. It just has to be broken down. And every culture has the capacity to do this. Every culture practiced this. Every culture understood that without science, we wouldn't be here. One of the things I do, I go around to various schools. The Manitoba First Nations Education Resource Center works with approximately 55 band-operated schools within the province of Manitoba. So that's about 12,000 students. And so I get the opportunity to travel all over Manitoba, right from Roseau River, the 49th parallel, all the way up to Lac Brochet, the Dene people, and speak to them about science. Because my mandate is to put First Nations perspective in science. And the easiest way to do that, of course, is astronomy. But I do a lot of hands-on science, do a lot of physics with them, just to catch their eye, get their inquiry going. And the first thing as I asked them is, prior to the coming of the Europeans, you think our people did science? And of course, a lot of them say no. Because when I say, okay, what is a scientist? What is a scientist? Right away, there's a picture that flashes in those kids' mind. And that's been indoctrinated into them. A guy in a white lab suit standing up in a lab. That's a scientist. But scientist is what you're doing. I don't see no white lab coats here. Science is what you do out in the land. It's what your people did out in the land. If your people, I told them, if your people didn't do science, we wouldn't be here. Nobody would be here. Because basically, the methodology of science is a way to adapt to your world. It's a way to inquire. It's a way to observe. It's a way to invent. And everybody did that. Everybody in the face of the earth did that. So, again, Nipi, central in all that we do at this place at this time. Could you switch that over? So we did this before, and I just mentioned that some of the root words, Nipi. Another root word for Nipi is Nipi. Nipi is leaf, and again, leaf central in the concept of water. And one of the things my people refer to themselves as is Inenyo or Niaho. Inenyo, it means it has become to mean Cree. Inenyo or Inenyo. Inenyo singular, Inenyo plural. It has come to mean Cree. But this word, the root word for Inenyo is Nio. Nio is four. And the term we refer to ourselves is the mixing of four. That's who we are, the mixing of four. When Creator made everything, He made human beings. And the mixing of four were the four elements, the air, earth, water, and fire. And you mix that. And that's how we came to be, the mixing of four. But it also refers to the mind, the body, the spirit, and the emotion. It makes the holistic concept of human beings, of who we are. But also for the Cree people, it means the Plains Cree, the Woodlands Cree, the Swampy Cree, and the Mistashini Cree, the Rock Cree. Those are the four basic sections of our nation, right across from BC all the way to Quebec and into Montana. So these things, again, are a holistic view of who we are. Cree came from I think it was the Jesuits, Christianog, who referred to us as relating to something to do with God, the understanding of God. So when you look at our view, my people's view of Nipi, you're looking at a totally alien view. I often wonder about this. When the Europeans first came across and they encountered our people, and they started asking about the worldview of our people, I was wondering what they thought. They might because from my experience with the Christian religion, and It's a totally alien concept for our people to talk about Atsak, to talk about spirit, to talk about a God, not a God sitting on a throne, some old guy sitting on a throne someplace, but a God that's uncomprehendable, a God that is there. We know it's there because we see it all over the place, but we don't try to understand, to interpret it as us, because we know it's not us, because we're pitiful, and God's not pitiful. And so it's a totally, for myself anyway, it's mind-bending to see when these two alien cultures meet and how confusing that must have been and how scary that must have been for both of them. So my people's view of Bema Tishiwan, this life, is in relation to this place that we stay at, this place that we live at, Wutaski. And it's in relation to how we got here, Ishkwil, the woman. And it's in relation to how we live our lives. And it's in relation to how we treat everything. Because I mentioned before, the central theme in that is that everything doesn't need us, but we need everything. So, okay, thank you. So, Nipe, for my people, reflects on how we utilize that land, how we utilize what we have. One of the words for Nipe or Sipe, Nipe, one of the words we have for the color blue in my language is Shipegok. Shipegok. The translation of that is like a reflection, the color of the sky, the color of the sky. Blue, or basically it's the breakdown is Shipegok, the color of the water. So that says the water is blue. Wherever you look, the water was blue because it reflected the sky. And that said that the water was clear because in a milky, sooty, muddy water, you can't reflect the sky. You'll see green or dark or black or something like that. But so that, again, so I was reading about that, and an example of that, Shipegok, the color of the sky. I live on Saskatchewan River. My Basquiat Cree Nation is on the Saskatchewan River. And just upstream from us is a place called Cumberland House. And Cumberland House in Saskatchewan, just across the border, was one of the first trading posts for Hudson Bay Company. And I was reading there in their ledgers that in one season, they took out 1 million beaver. 1 million beaver they took out one season from that area, because that area is a big, huge delta. And anyways, so I was thinking about that and the word Shipegok, the color of the river. And if you take out 1 million beaver from an environment, what happens during the spring runoff when all those beaver are gone? There's no repairing those dams. There's no repairing all the runoff. There's no holding back any of that runoff. And all that runoff erodes, changes the water, changes the temperature of the water, erodes, changes the banks, and basically rages and tears up everything. Now, you take that and you extrapolate that to include all of North America and all the fur trading companies in North America, and how many beavers did they take away? And how did that affect the land? And it's unimaginable. So now our rivers are basically covered with erosion, just run rampant, floods everywhere. That's just part of that's just one small part of the big picture of the cutting of the trees, the plowing of the fields, all these things, of the irrigation systems that are now happening. So it's very, it's mind-blowing of what we can do to our own resources, what we can do to the gift we give to our children, how we waste what we have. And a lot of it has to do with profit. A lot of it has to do with power. Somebody mentioned they were, that was you. Yeah, talked about the sturgeon in, or is it Garden Hill or Garden River? Garden River, there's sturgeon in Garden River. And sturgeon for my people is very important, very important. Not only as a food source, but as a symbol. Nameo, there's a nameo, a sturgeon swimming in the sky. He swims right in the Milky Way. And it encompasses 13 stars in Pegasus, Auriga, and it's right in the Milky Way. And the nose touches one side of the Milky Way, and the tail touches the other side of the Milky Way. And it swims there. So of those 13 stars, there are 7 main stars. And of those 7 main stars, we're told this talks about ancestors. This talks about generations. This talks about bloodlines. It talks about relationships. It talks about responsibility. The way they told us is that we influence 7 generations. We hold sway, hold influence over 7 generations. And these 7 generations are 3 ahead of us and 3 behind us, and we're right in the middle. So if we look, of course, in front of us, we have our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. Those are the 3 generations. Then we look behind us, we have our parents, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents. So those 2 extremes are our great-grandchildren and our great-grandparents. We call those ones Tsaapan. Tsaapan sort of literally translates as the ones that tie together. Our grandchildren, great-grandchildren tie together the future. Our great-grandparents tie together the past. And what we're told is that we, as responsible human beings, what we tell our children, what we tell our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, this is what is going to be taken into the future to people that we don't know. And if we want those people to be strong, if we want those people to be proud, if we want those people to be responsible, then the gift, the message that we give the people in front of us is what they'll hear in the future. So it better be strong, it better be powerful, it better be truthful, it better be honest. And same with the past. I'm up here now because of my Tsaapan. You're here because of your Tsaapan. The message you have now is what was given to you. And how you formulate that message to encompass the present day now, the thought processes that go through your mind were given to you. They're a part of your ancestry. And so we have that responsibility. And our elders tell us that that sky world up there, this gives us all the information and relates us to everything that is, that Misha I talked about. All that is, that sky world. So this little part here that we're sitting here at, Utashki, this little place, is just a little blip in our journey. As there's a word that my people say kishikugak. Kishikugak. Right now, when we talk Korean, we say kishikau. What we mean is daytime. That's what it means. Daytime, that light that you see. But they said it comes from an old word. Old word means kishikugak. Kishikugak means light energy, spirit energy. That's what it means. And that's what we are. We're light energy. We're spirit energy. And science refers to that, is that everything is energy. So we're beings of energy, and we come from up there, and we're here to visit, and we go back up there. And this is, again, a totally alien concept, which is slowly coming to understand that, yeah, we are beings of energy. We are beings of light. And there's a big, vast universe out there. And we're just a small part of that. But what we do here is very important because it affects the future. What we do here at this time, at this place, is very important because it affects our children. It affects our grandchildren. It affects our great-grandchildren. And it affects those ones that we don't know. And we hope that they'll be there. So I want to thank everybody for listening to what I have to say. Thank you very much.